From the street to purpose. A letter of urgent mercy to the man who has forgotten who he is. Grace and peace to you, not as the world gives, but as the Lord gives, with truth and fire. I write not to shame you, but to stir you. For too many are content to survive, and too few dare to live. You were not made for the sidewalk. Were you formed from dust just to sleep in it again? Was your soul breathed into by God so you could die in slow degrees? No, brother. You were not born for the corner or the gutter, but to be called son by the one who formed you in secret. They passed you by, they crossed the street, but God did not. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Psalm 27:10. Let this truth cut through every lie. The street may have been your chapter, but it is not your conclusion. You are not the bottle. You are not the needle. You are not the night you almost gave up. You are not the name they called you. You are more. You were made for more. And what now? Will you carry the survival mindset into the land of mercy? Will you cling to scraps when the King has set a table before you? You've prayed for bread, but will you pray for vision? You've asked for shelter, but will you ask for purpose? You have faith that God can feed you, but do you have faith that He can transform you? The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life, and have it abundantly. John 10:10. Oh man, don't be satisfied with mere survival, because being satisfied with survival is not faith, it's surrender. It is the quiet agreement that this is all I'll ever have. But faith says, there's more ahead, because God isn't done with me yet. Faith stretches. Faith moves. Faith refuses to stay stuck. Yes, survival kept you breathing. But let's be honest, what kind of life is that? Is a man truly living if all he does is keep his head above water? Day after day, paddling, gasping, waiting for rescue? But Christ did not come to leave you paddling in panic. He calls you to walk on the water, not by your strength, but by faith. Faith to step out when it's still storming. Faith to look at Him and not the waves. Faith to believe that where you sink, He will catch you. And let's speak the truth. The comforts of the street follow you into the house, the bottle that kept your blood thin in the cold. The hit that made you feel just a little bit human, or at least less than broken. They come with you. They sit in the corners. They whisper from the cupboards. They tell you nothing's really changed. But hear this! Cut off the comforts of the street. Put your faith to the test, not God, for God knows Himself. But do you? Do you know the man you were meant to become? Or are you still clinging to the man you used to be? And I say this too. For some, the street became a lifestyle. For others, it was the last resort. But the one who stays in that mindset will be engulfed by it. Like a ship swallowed by the waves, he will disappear into it and forget who he is. So what if you don't know where to go from here? What if you have no dream, no direction? Then ask God, for He is the author of your life, and He guides the steps of those who are willing to walk in His way. You don't need a 10-year plan. You need a willing heart, a next step, and a listening ear. Jesus was homeless too, but He walked with purpose. He had no bed to call His own, but He had a mission that moved heaven. He walked not to survive, but to save. And now hear this clearly. You need aim to break free from the bow of survival, the pressure, the tension, the pull you feel. It was never meant to hold you down. The string that kept you bound was meant to launch you. So don't confuse your stretching with your ending. It's the preparation before flight. Let where you are today be your motivation, not your identity. Let the struggle fuel your rise. Because God doesn't just rescue, He repurposes. You were not made for scraps. You were made for the table of the King. You've lived in just enough. But God is calling you into more than enough. You've lived on leftovers. Now He invites you to sonship. Not just a roof over your head, but a reason to rise each day with purpose. You don't need perfect clothes to walk in purpose. You don't need a resume to be redeemed. You don't need a pulpit to preach hope. You need only to rise, not in your strength, but in His mercy. You have a story that will loosen chains. You have a voice that can pull others from the same pit. You have hands made not for reaching out in need, but for lifting others up once you've stood. So wash off the shame, cut loose the lies. Stand in the mirror and say, I am not who I was. I am who He is making me to be. You are not your last night on the bench. You are not the bottle that lied to you. You are not forgotten. You are called. You are being rebuilt. You are a man with purpose. And as you step out today, with or without a roof over your head, step out as one who walks with heaven's help. Step into prayer. Step into direction. Step into faith. Step out of survival, for you are more than this. You were made for more. And do you not see that every time you rise above what life throws at you, every time you stand in the face of lack, pain, and the pull to stay down, you are testifying, not just to the world, but to heaven and hell alike, that your faith is real. You are declaring, my hope is not in what I see, but in who I trust. You are proving the liar wrong. You are showing that the joy of the Lord is your strength, and your rising is worship. So rise, not just to live, but to shine, not just to survive, but to walk as a son. For you are no longer astray. You are running beside the Master. And where He leads, there is purpose, there is peace, and there is home. From the shepherd's dog. Once lost, now found, once surviving, now sent.